that we're running out of time here. We've got a representative from the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission. Did you want to say anything?
Sure, if you don't mind, I'll give you all a map and a few statistics on Elbert County. My name is Tom Kerr. I'm with the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission. I've been there for 23 years, and I've been through a lot of these meetings, hundreds of hours of discussions like this in rulemaking, and compromise is never easy. The points are always strongly made on all sides. And so, first I want to say that I think that I've been looking at the regulations moving over the last 2 years. I think that you've come a long ways, and it looks good from a lot of our perspectives. I spoke with my attorney. I have to watch what I say because I am regulated by what I can and can't say. But I do think that your compromise has made a lot of progress, and I think it's probably really at a point where you can make decisions, and I think it's good. I do want to make a couple points. One is on produced water. COGCC regulates produced water. We regulate it according to the standards that are adopted by CDPHE, which follow the standards of EPA. The only way we can go is more stringent, not less stringent. We do not like produced water being put on roads, period. We're just not into it. It concentrates, it develops into a problem. So we're not big fans of that at all. One thing I do see in there that eventually may be one of your points of contention, depending on whether development gets there, and I have a lot of these maps that are available to everyone. Is the density issues. Density is a tough thing to determine. We have hearings 10 times a year to determine density and work with it. We try to push for consolidation of facilities. It just doesn't always work that way because of reach and other issues. So that's always something that is prone to change and subject to science, which is what's going to make the oil producer better. And the last thing I'd like to comment on is something that we struggle with as well. I'm just only going to comment on it. I'm not going to tell you right or wrong in there, but the derelict operations, as I think I heard them called, our rules say that if they're going to temporarily abandon a well and actually pull that equipment off, then in 6 months they've got to pressure test it. If they leave the equipment on there in such a way that it can be turned on, it's considered a shut-in well. It can sit like that for 2 years. Then they have to pressure test it, and then they have to pressure test it every 5 years thereafter. We have a lot of fields that have been produced that the ultimate recovery that they're at right now is about 30 to 46% of the resource. There's a lot of resource still there, and a lot of technology is changing, and a lot of interest to get back after it. And if they plug all of those wells and go back and re-enter them all, it's just going to make another set of messes. So we work with them, we ride them hard to do something. We make them submit plugging plans, we make them test those wells, we stay on them, but we don't go in there and say, you absolutely have to plug this well now. We have some operators with bonds in excess of $5 million to deal with those issues. So it's not an easy situation, it's a tough one. And with that, I would avail myself to any questions or comments. But
what if they go bankrupt? These small outfits that try to drill wells and don't quite cut it, the dirt. The well is
there's laws in the United States that protect every individual and every company, and we can't interact in that process. We just have to deal with it. Just like everybody else, we have to follow the laws, just like you do. And
right,
that's
but the well has been drilled, it's been abandoned, the company's bankrupt. What?
We take their bond and we'll deal with their well.
So you'll take and mitigate any issues?
That's part of what we have a fund to do that. And that's what the bond's there for.
Wouldn't those assets be turned over and resold to another company that would be working on?
Many times, yeah. And of course, usually when a company goes bankrupt, there's a lot of people that are after those assets anyway. So there's usually, in case of bankruptcy, there's not much money.
I've got actually two questions. One, piggybacks on what Paul was saying. So is it kind of looked upon on your end as if, let's say, I bought a old gas station and the tank's leaking, and under the current rules, then that's my baby. Even if it's been leaking for 20 years and it's discovered after I buy this thing, it's my liability. So would an operator that would come in after something was abandoned and pick up that operation, would they be liable for the sins of the original operators?
If you're talking about a plugged-in abandoned well, no, not technically. We don't make the operator assume the liability of something that's been plugged in abandoned, signed off by the state. We certainly get a lot of cooperation from them. We also try to go back and get old operators to do it. We have currently got a process going where we, instead of just moving a large company's bond down the line and just keep moving it along, we've actually worked on releasing those and going out and inspecting all their sites. So when
That brings up my second question. Are there any plans afoot to increase the amount of inspectors working the scope?
There is. So let me finish that statement and I'll go back to that one. So when BP bought Amoco and asked for Amoco's bond to be released, we said we'll go through a normal bond release procedure, and we have worked with them and re-inspected every one of the wells and all their prior companies back to all of our records, and worked with them for the last 15 years to have them clean up all their messes from the 50s. So it's been a long process, and we're working hard with all the companies to go back and make things right. So in regards to your question, the Oil and Gas Commission, when I started, had 24 employees. I came on and just hired 3 new inspectors. We now have 76 employees. We submitted a request for 5. We got 19.4 employees. The Joint Budget Committee awarded that many through many of the long arguments. And none of the legislation got passed to try to increase it. And out of that, 11 of them have to be inspectors. The rest of them have field-associated operations, such as engineering, environmental protection. People such as the engineering contractor, environmental contractor that you heard from.
When do you think that might take place?
We've hired 3 of them already, so we're in the process. We're very aggressively going after it.
Okay, we're going to get this thing voted on before 11 o'clock. We need to